Right, I'm going to do a video today. Let's put the hat on. Let's do a flex. Oof. Too swole for the climbs, mate. Too swole for the birds. Let's talk about caffeine. Now this is... I don't need drugs to function. All right, we've got... This is called the extreme here. This is extreme caffeine. How many milligrams of caffeine we've got in here? This is from High Five. This is back in the day. See what it says there? Higher caffeine stimulant. So it's very, very responsibly labelled. If you can see the use by date on here, it is used by 2015. I'm not sure if you can see it on there. It says January or December 2015, February 2015. So I've had this in the cupboard for about 7 years. That's how much caffeine I use. I don't even know why I even keep this stuff. So if you stayed over my house, you'd like go through the drawers and stuff and find all this stuff. And you'd be like, oh, Harley's like this caffeine junkie. But if you look at the use by date, it's going to be, I don't even know why I don't even keep this. I have a difficulty throwing stuff in the bin. And I don't know, maybe I'll use it one day. Would it be poisonous maybe? So old. Let's talk about caffeine. I use it very, very, very rarely. I've experimented with a lot of drugs over the years, performance enhancing. Caffeine is considered a performance enhancing drug, and I think it is, but depends on the context. I think if you're doing 24-hour races, yeah, caffeine can be really good. If it's cold, yeah, caffeine can be good. If it's hot, I don't think caffeine's good at all. And I don't think caffeine's good at all, in my experience. And with my athletes that I coach or mentor or advise or DM on Instagram or whatever, people ask me questions, I don't recommend caffeine for 99% of them. I find caffeine can make you dehydrated. It just gets you all buzzing, and you don't eat and drink enough. You don't have enough carbs, and then your recovery's shot. And then people have caffeine afterwards at the coffee shop drinking coffee. And I'm just like, man, do you value your fitness? You obviously don't. You know. And I remember training with a lot of professional riders over the years. And when I mean professional, I mean like world tour riders, Cadell Evans, Lance Armstrong, Contador, Sagan, etc., during TDU, just in the back, giving them a bit of a tour guide or showing them which climbs are where, racing the course or whatever, show them where to go. And so I often would stop at the coffee shop. Got his cat fur on my nose. We'd stop at the coffee shop, and so I get to see what the rider's doing. And a lot of them would order decaf or just a herbal tea. I remember back in, I think it was 2010, with Alessandro Ballan, the ex-world champ with BMC. And I remember him just not having a coffee. And I said, how come you're not having a coffee? He goes, are we racing today? This is just training. No need for coffee. And he goes, I use it, I save it for the races. And I was like, smart. And it's just common sense. It's about responsible drug usage. Caffeine is a drug. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we give Milo and chocolate to kids. We're giving them drugs. It's a stimulant. Right? It's a stimulant. Caffeine, cacao, cocaine, Ritalin, Adderall. It's a stimulant. It's a central nervous stimulant. People say, sugar's a drug. Sugar's a nutrient. Sugar's found in breast milk. Caffeine isn't. Unless you're drinking coffee. God help the little fetus. Sugar is essential. It's a nutrient. Blood sugar, muscle glycogen. It's essential. Caffeine is definitely not. And I would say that, let's talk about my girlfriends over the years. Let's get all into that sort of territory. And you see that I have a girlfriend and they're a non-cyclist, or they'd be like sort of semi-interested or whatever. And then after a few months with me or a year with me or whoever, they're just like, boom, their fitness just goes insane. And that is largely due to I don't let them take any stimulants on a daily basis, even a weekly basis. And I've done time trial experiments where I've spiked drinks, sports drinks with I've used various stimulants, and all legal. And my conclusion is they make the girls go slower, because then they get in their head and they'll start to panic and so if you start to doubt yourself and you're on stims, you doubt yourself even more. All right. So if you can't control self-doubt, then you should never use stimulants, because you'll get the self-doubt will come up and then your stims will make it go really up and you'll be going down. If you can't control your breathing and you're flighty and stuff and anxious, don't use stimulants. It'll make you worse. People say, hey, have a coffee, have a tea, have a gel, caffeine pill, Ritalin, whatever. it's just going to make you worse in a time trial, in my experience, dealing with a lot of athletes. And some of the mistakes that people make, they don't change the gears properly. They come around a corner, and then it's like they've got to, I'll change the gear. What are you thinking? They forget to drink their water bottle. They crash into people. They go too crazy in the downhills. And it's like, they're not fully present. You can always go better if you're sober up a hill or in a time trial, because you can be more present. You mean more present. That's my personal philosophy. Caffeine doesn't boost red blood cells. It doesn't. What boosts red blood cells is important. Sugar will boost red blood cells, because your red blood cells run on sugar. They don't run on caffeine. So caffeine can make your blood cells go down because you get dehydrated. You can't sleep properly when you're on caffeine at that night. Then people start taking sleeping tablets, and then they need more caffeine the next day. And it's just like, well, you're doing that, and then you're doing that to bring down. And then by the time you know it, you're at where you were at the start with, and then you start going down. No wonder. I mean, if you look at, to use Tori example, Big T, I coached her. We were together for about a year or so, and she did really good, easy to coach, just loved it, and but kept the training pretty low key, and not too much, just enough, and just listened to it, observed her body every day, and didn't let her use the caffeine or anything every day. Occasionally there was like a TT stim. But even then, I made the conclusions like she should never do stims. She just doesn't. That's not her. She's already, stimmed enough naturally energetic. So if you get a naturally energetic person using stims, it's like, it's a bad recipe. So anyway, I heard PRs were set in, I would say, July 2017. She was faster than she is now. Now she can hold a wheel a lot better. And this is not sledge. This is just like to help people understand the dangers of caffeine. All right, it's an innocent drug, but it destroys your fitness. So Big T Tori can hold the wheel a lot better now. She just knows how to draft. She's doing great. She's on the downhills better. Still doesn't take too many risks. So she can draft really good, but her power hasn't gone up despite doing way more training. She's training the house down, but she hasn't gotten fitter. She holds the wheel better, but that's not fitness. That's a skill. Her skill set's a lot better. For sure. But if you don't see it increasing the power, you've lost fitness. Even if you lose weight, you've lost fitness if you're losing power. Right? If you're doing 300 watts for 30 minutes and you lose weight, now you're doing 250, you've lost power. If you can no longer do 300 and you're going about the same time because you lost weight, then you've lost fitness. Right? In a longer race or whatever, or over the course of the year, you're going to get run down. You're at the limit. So what I noticed with riders who use caffeine, their power goes down over time. Especially like seasoned rider, which I'll consider Tori has pretty seasoned. Another lady in Adelaide as well, who's a noob. Well, I love coaching the noobs because you get to see what works. And there's a big spike of performance with no caffeine, and then the caffeine comes in, and there's like extra bit of training, but the performance doesn't go up. And then over time, the performance is coming down. The skills gets going up from the extra training, blah, 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 but the watts are going down, And that just destroys your natural talent. So I definitely believe that caffeine has a lot to answer for. It's a lot to answer for. And I would never coach an athlete who drank caffeine every day because they're just going to be going down. And I don't want to be a coach. People say, hey, durianrider coach me, I went down. I don't want that. People go up with me. Right? And so getting off the stims, your performance will go up. And people were like, that person's drinking heaps of caffeine, that's why they're fast. It's like, no, man. They'll be faster without the caffeine. You know what's really good? The best drug? It's not even a drug, but it's music. Nothing beats music. There's no come down. Put a Bluetooth thing so you can still hear the traffic around you. Put like a speaker on your handlebars, etc. That's the best. I remember on up Doisy Tep and Thailand or Norton Summit, put music on the bike, and pace bike would have music on there. That's the best. Music's the best, all right? You can sleep that night. You don't have to, there's cortisol. Caffeine spikes your cortisol, promotes fat storage long term. People say, no, caffeine helps you burn fat. You avoid eating food. Man, dummies, like, look at all the obese people out there at work, etc., who smash the coffee, I always look at something long term. Always look at something long term. When we're kids, we see Hollywood and we see people, Lethal Weapon or whatever, some sort of movie where people are in the street, they're fighting, they're punching and get knocked out, and it's like, yeah. But that's not real world. In real world, you go punch someone in the head in the street, you're going to go to court, you might go to prison, you have to pay them compensation, blah, 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 blah. Like, Instagram or whatever isn't real world. Marketing's not real world. Right? People sitting there having a coffee, it's a beautiful day. What about the anxiety the next day? What about the relationship breakdown? What about the red blood cell depletion? What about all these things later on? So I encourage people to think outside the box. Right? And I'm 43 August this year, in 2020 August this year. So a big thing is, man, my success is I very, very rarely use stimulants. And I get rest whenever I need. When my body wants to just lay and chill, I let it lay and chill. If the worst thing you can do is being tired and go, I'm tired, I need to have a cup of coffee, man, you are digging yourself into a hole. And that's why so many people out there who train way more than me aren't faster than me, even if they're younger than me, because they're just overtrained. And you can get the workload done. You won't enjoy it as much, especially after a few weeks and a few months, you'll be starting to really, really hate it. Oh, I've got to train, I've got to keep lean, And then you just go neurotic. And you see those riders, you see them riding around, they're not enjoying it. They're not enjoying it. They now have a smile on their face, or it's a fake smile, and they're just like, they hate it. They hate riding. And you're like, what? You hate riding? It's like, yeah, there's so many people out there, they hate riding, but they ride for weight loss. Have the coffee and just keep going, got to skip a meal, fasted training, intermittent fasting, it's fast training. They're not enjoying their life, man. They're hating it. For me, it's all about life quality. Right? I would rather be a little bit undertrained and super hungry, to go hard on the Strava or the park run or the race or whatever, versus overtrained and apathetic and be like, oh, hey, whatever, yeah, man, you just go up the road, whatever. All right, so that's a big one as well. I notice if someone's overtrained, one of the first signs is you don't want to race. You don't want to race. I race every day. I get the chance. Some days I don't get to race because the race didn't happen, but I'll race anytime, anywhere, as long as it's safe. And so that's a sign for me of overtraining, is when you don't want to race. When someone zooms past you in the Commuter World Championships and you just let them go up the hill. So you go, mate, I'm doing my zone 2 today. Boring. So if you don't want to race, if you don't race, then for me that's a sign of overtraining. And some people are like, I'm on a strict training program, I coach it, I'm going to do the Tour de France one day. No, you're not. Why are you training them like that, man? Why are you being so pompous and pretentious? Oh, my coach is doing this and this, I can't do that. And it's like, come on, man, live a little. If the universe gives you a rabbit, chase it, as long as it's safe to do so. That's how I train. That's how I stay fit and happy and love to ride. People say, Harley, what's the best training program? Like Sweet Spot or what? It's like, it's fucking boring. It's boring, man. People who do that burn out. Have fun, get on Strava, race your mates, go for your PRs, etc. once a week. Commute, use your bike for transport. Someone comes past, the race is on. As long as it's safe. Don't race in traffic, So, that's my philosophy, and that's why at my age I'm still hungry to race. I'll race anyone, anytime, in the right conditions, as long as it's safe. Because I love it, man. I love it. I love the competition. It just feels like chasey. I used to play chasey in school, and I'm 42, still playing chasey on the street. So that's why caffeine as well. For me, why I don't use caffeine regularly, every month even, is I find caffeine lowers performance. You can't sleep that well that night. And then if you can't sleep, you don't recover, you don't absorb the training. Right? And that goes downhill. I recommend people do it a year of no caffeine. Do it a year of no stims. It'll be your best year ever. You'll get to heal your adrenal glands. You get to heal your hypothalamus. You get to benefit your thyroid gland. Right? And you get to have a more rainbow sort of thoughts and sensations. If you want more tips, get a code on my durianrider.com website. I've got 2 ebooks, Carb the F Up, and Doing Right as Anybody Bible. Hundreds of tips in those books. Best information out there. And that's all that information in books is I put into people I coach to get them PRing in their life. And so some people say, well, hey, why would someone start drinking coffee again when they did so well in your program? Spite, social pressure, social disapproval, social approval, or whatever, What I notice is people who use a lot of stims aren't really present. All right? It's the biggest one. They're not really present. They might be like, that, in your face present, but that will wear off in 10 minutes. And they'll be like, they're not really present, or their anxiety is coming in, the moods are jumping up and down. So that's why I prefer my girlfriends don't do stims every week or whatever. It's just for that presence, that peace of mind, that logic, that the essence, the real genuineness, the authenticity. When you're on drugs, you're not really your true self. Right? Stimulants mainly. Right? You're not your true self. You're not your true alcohol, etc. Is especially stims. You're all jittery, and they can be fun, and I get that, but doing them every day, you're gonna burn yourself out. Right? Just look at your mum, look at your dad, look at your uncle, you look at your auntie, the coffee person. Look at them when they're 40 or 50 or 60 or 70. Do you want to be like that? Maybe they are doing pretty good for what you think, but I guarantee you they'd be better without the stims. Because my sister, my brother, they just run on caffeine. They just run on caffeine all day. That's going to be really bad for them long term, isn't it? And they're going to age quicker. They're just going to have a bit more of an edge to them. They're going to be a bit sensitive to be around. I also notice with caffeine drinkers, they're like, woo. I noticed people in my community who were caffeine free were really cool. And then when they started drinking caffeine, they got so bitchy, so snitchy, And their work ethic dropped down. They stopped doing YouTube videos. They're just like, they just pissed away amazing opportunities. So caffeine makes you work less because you don't have that full recovery. It kills your fitness over time. So obviously what people say, if tired, have a cup of coffee, but you won't be as productive as if you're rested, less TV, less TikTok, whatever, get that rest, and then you can go really deep, into your day. You'll have a lot better performance. Trust me on that one. But hey, what do I know? 42, living the dream, total financial freedom, total everything freedom. What would I know?